Today we're going to take a look at graphing our equation y is equal to mx. So let's take a look at this first example. I have y is equal to 3 over 4x. So what we need to remember is that our original equation is y is equal to mx, where m is equal to y over x. Okay, so our m here is going to be 3 over 4. So when I look at this, I'm going to be doing something called rise over run. So my rise is going to be on my x-axis, how my x-axis is going up vertically, and my run is going to be my x-axis, how I go from side to side. So I have these dots on the side here that I'm going to drag over to the next spot. So I'm starting at my origin of 0, 0. I'm going up 3. So I go up 1, 2, 3. And I run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. From this point, I'm going to do that same thing. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. Over 1, 2, 3. And for my last point, I'm going to do the same thing. I go up 1, 2, 3. I go over 1, 2, 3. So then, when I have this done, before I move that line over, I want to fill in this table. So it already gives me my x values of 0, 0, 4, 8, and 12. Well, if I look here, if I look at x is equal to 4, I go up and there's a dot, and that's at 3. So I'm going to put a 3 here. I go over to my 8 on my x-axis and go up. There's a dot at 6 on the y-axis. And lastly, when I do the same thing with 12, I go up on my y-axis, and there's a dot at 9 at y is equal to 1. Lastly, what I would do is put my line on to show my linear trend. So with this type of question, we're given one point, and we see that is at negative 4, 4. So we can see that that is that point there. And we're given a slope of 3. So another way to view this is as 3 over 1. It's still equal to 3, but that's a better way to look at it when you're using rise over run. And this is also why we use fractions as opposed to decimals. We see that rise over run, so we like to keep our slope in fraction form. So if I know that my slope is 3 over 1, so it's going to be rise 3 over 1. So I'm going to take my new point's going to rise 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. So I can see that my new point is at negative 3, negative 1. So then I'm going to move my other point. There we go. I'm going to move it up 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. So then I can see that it is at negative 2, 2. So now we're going to just take a look at a graph, and we're going to determine the slope. So we're going to use that rise over run method. Remember, we're using m is equal to y over x, which is also going to be our rise over our run. So when I take a look at this, I have a point at negative 5, negative 1. So I first want to find out my rise. So I need to see how many times do I go up on my y-axis to get to a line that has a point on it. So I see on the thicker black line, I see that there is a point on it. So I'm going to stop, and I went up 1. Now I'm going to figure out how much I went over, how much I need to go over to get to that point. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my rise was 1 and my run was 5, meaning my slope is equal to 1/5. My m value is 1/5, so I could just put 1/5. These are 3 different ways that we are able to use graphs for graphing the equation y is equal to mx plus b, and how we can also find the slope by looking at graphs. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your teacher.